Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft Season 6. Only on this server, in this series, could you see a sight as crazy as this, a derp drifting through a waterlogged rainbow. Shop has turned out fantastic. I've been over here collecting some profits, and I've been really enjoying watching the other hermits' videos and seeing their confusion as to what this shop is. There is a lot of love for the shop. There is also some dismay. You know, it's a crazy idea. I get it. It's weird, but it's also wonderful. And I say, hey, why not? Why not? But anyway, I've been collecting our profits. And check this out. We have gotten a lot of diamonds. How many diamonds have we gotten? It looks like a lot, right? I think I even just picked some of them back up. Let's keep throwing them all out here. Have a little guess for yourself. It is 38 diamonds in total. Pretty fantastic, right? And that's just the beginning. We haven't even built like a proper entrance to this area. I also want to set up some sort of like loyalty scheme or discount for bulk purchases. And what I've been thinking of doing is taking the facade of this building, scaling it down and building like a miniature one over here, maybe with some of the rainbow colours peeking through the gaps, and then it would match the build it is neighboured to, as well as kind of being its own thing. But we're not going to be working on that today. We're going to be opening another new shop, one that I have been preparing for a long time. But before we even get to that, there is another great thing about having the wall shop now, which is that we get access to carpets, and you might guess why I'm over here. This is another reason why I wanted to get the wall shop out of the way nice and early, because in this game you have to light things up or put carpets on them to stop mob spawning, and I really want to put some carpets down over here because the torches look kind of silly on the roof, and now we're able to do that. And not just for this build, for many builds. Like I've got the Tango and Cub ones over there that could probably do with some carpets on the top as well. I'm not so sure this is actually the best of ideas. As you can see, the colour of the roof has really changed from up above, but from down below is where we will mostly see it. And you know what? I think it retains its charm. But once again, I feel like Mojang really need to do something about the whole putting lights on roofs thing, because how many roofs have like lights on them IRL? As you can see, there is a phantom trapped inside of here. They spawned a moment ago when it was night. Come on, fly down to me, buddy. I'm going to kill you on camera. It's found its way to the tallest possible spot it can get to. I've also noticed I've left some cobblestone back here, so that can go. What a silly little phantom. Why isn't it trying to attack me? Ha! There we go. What does that bring me up to? 11! Whoa, I'm surely going to win. No, probably not. You know what? This just isn't really going to work, is it? And I don't think it's been a problem. After a certain height, mobs aren't going to drop off the edge and fall down. And this is probably a good enough clearance for that. Over there, though, maybe a little bit more problematic. And it really takes away from the nice detail that we've got up the top here. So maybe we don't have to put carpets on everything. The egg here seems like a good idea, though, since the colours match a lot better. And that's kind of lower to the ground. Anyway, we are getting totally sidetracked here. If you've been watching the Hermitcraft live streams, you might have known about this. I can't remember if I mentioned it in a video, but I put down a plot here that was for sale for 64 diamonds. It does indeed have a huge basement down here, which might be kind of useful to me. And, what? How did my ones make it down here? Is this a prank? Did someone do this to me? Because you have wandered into the least visible place on the server, if so. Goodness me. Well, I found those, and maybe what we'll do is ride them into... Yes, actually, let's do this. Let's go and ride both of these into the pen. I had so many suggestions to do this in my comments, so y'all can be happy now. Look, they're over here in these pens, and we are cutting the price in half. And what I'm going to do is put a message in the shopping channel to let everyone know that they're here. And hopefully Brian, Scar and Cubfan don't notice that message, because I got a feeling that they're going to be a little bit upset if they find out we're using their stables. So hopefully we'll make a sale before they notice. And once again, attempting to get back on track, this right here was up for sale at the price of 64 diamonds. And unsurprisingly, given all of the space in this area, I didn't get a sale. Nope. But I'm going to claim this plot for myself, and it's going to be a little bit bigger than where the cobblestone goes. We're going to kind of come all the way up to the path over here, and what I want to do is just focus on building a little bit this episode, because it turns out the shop that we're going to be building is kind of simple to execute. So we'll focus our energy on the building and make something spectacular. I'm walking around the edge here so you can kind of see how the paths are like in a big box. And I think over on this side there is a path that needs to be extended downwards, or at least it just kind of dead ends here. So we'll make use of the layouts of the land, which is going to be a bit bigger than where the cobblestone is. And as you can see, I've prepared lots and lots of shulker boxes. And this isn't actually for the build. This is for what we're going to be selling, which I'm not going to tell you just yet. Although I've probably done that thing where the thumbnail tells you everything already, right? But look at how much cactus we got. This is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy amounts of cactus. Oh, and while we're in this area, it's probably worth mentioning that I did a little bit of work on the path. You can kind of see it goes in a straight line over there. There's lots of lamps, all looking good. This still looks kind of atrocious. I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to do here. Struggling to get the right vision in mind and the inspiration together. But over here, I have actually built another little bridge that turned out to look pretty fantastic. It's nice, right? It's the same build palette as what we used over there. We've got the brick slabs, we've got granite and a cha-cha. We've also used some of the trapdoors for that. And it's a really nice little bridge which leads over to the last part of the shopping area, which is Jevin's little game, which is sort of a shop, sort of a game, sort of a gamble, sort of many things. Look at this bridge design though. I just really like it. I think it works out really, really good. And I'm hoping that I can use that to inspire me to figure out what is going to go over here. And before we get to work on our shop, we have an errand to do, which we do every episode. That is to put something inside the chest for the phantom hunting season. And today it is some cobwebs, which I got from the mine shaft below the squid farm. Not the most exciting of prizes, right? But I think what we'll do is at the end of the month, we'll fill this up with all sorts of goodies so that all the slots are filled. And even though not everything is amazing, it'll be something overall. Anyway, it's time for an update. Cleo is in the lead with 338 kills. That is amazing right there. GG Cleo. I think she's putting that axe we gave her to good use. So my friends, the rest of this episode is going to be a buildy one. I am inspired and I've got the absolute hankering to do some building. I've been flying around the ice farm competition world, seeing tons of crazy different build styles, and now I'm just really in the mood for doing this. And today's episode, we will do things very differently with the building. I never build things straight away in survival. I like to figure things out in creative mode first and then come onto here in Hermitcraft and build it in survival. But we're actually going to do everything in survival today, and I'm taking a page out of the book of a plot that I found in that competition where they had mixed the bricks, the granite and the polished granite together to create a really cool block palette and structural design, and we're going to use some of that and kind of wing it in our own direction as well. Now the way that I've decided to do this is by figuring out how the ground floor is going to kind of look just based on some lines and elements that I want to include. So the first thing we're going to have over on this side are windows looking into the shop floor, and this is one of those windows right there. I'm not sure if this is finished, but it's mostly complete, so we're going to repeat that 3 times, and then we go down a block and we're going to repeat it another 3 times over here. Then at this end of the building we're going to have some chimney stacks that go up to make it look big and industrial, and they're sort of staggered over by 1 block because I want the layout to be really unique, and when it comes to building the roofs I want it to all come together with some sort of organic tapestry. Now around here we're going to have some walls to link things together, although I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like. One thing I do really want to have is like the building extend over the top of the path, and we're going to do that at this bit where the path will actually end and go inside of our building. So that's going to be one of the entrances. I do need one somewhere else, and I hadn't really left a space for that. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have another entrance around here, and a path can go down there to get to it. That sounds like a really cool idea. Now it's real easy for me to waffle on, so I think as we build this, what we should do is just focus on one section at a time. And look at this. It's just glorious. It's just looking really, really amazing. And already I've picked out a couple of things with this that I think need to change. First of all, we're using this polished granite more so on the inside, and there is this gap here where we go down a block, and I think actually what we need in this space is for our bricks to go all the way up the top and then possibly become one of these pillars that we have here, because we're actually going to add a second floor, and these are the pillars that I'm talking about. And that second floor is going to start off with this little gap right here so you can look out, and then we're going to have our roof go directly on top of these 2 blocks. So I think there's this perfect opportunity there to have like a lip going across, a different material for the roof, and then that gap in the middle is going to bring it down by 1 block. So all of that's going in the right direction, and I think there is one other change that needs to be made here. It's actually the grass at the bottom. I just feel like there's a lot of that in this area, and it needs to change. And I'll tell you what else needs changing here as well. I reckon these bricks that are on the path need to be changed up, because they're part of our structure, and it looks kind of odd when you see them on the ground. Ooh, it's very tarmac-like, but oh, it's just got such a nice mix with the bricks. Not so much with the path here, so this is subject to change. I think the sandstone is a little bit too bright. I kind of plan on using this in the build as well, so we're going to rip that out and go with birch, which I think I've actually mixed with these paths before, and that obviously looks a lot nicer, doesn't it? So this might change, but what we're definitely going to do is change up the birch, and I'm going to do that going down here. So we have a little bit of a vantage point here. This is the material that I'm going for in the roof. That is jungle wood, but I've also thrown in some oak because it's really quite close. And I like the jungle wood because it's kind of reddish and it matches what we got going on down here. But, you know, it's not the best looking yet, and that's because it's got a long way to go, right? The slope might also not be the same, and I think the big problem here are these big open windows. I actually think this roof is going to not look as good with this looking so raised up and open. So, I think we're going to have to do something to close up these windows. Perhaps that means putting some more granite in and closing up the gaps at the front area like this. Or, possibly having another wall back here so that we have a walkway, and I really like that idea of being able to walk through here. So when you look up from down below, you see a lot of brick, but actually you can come and walk up through this space. I don't know which one will look best. Let's jump down and see if the few blocks that I managed to place make any difference at all. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be the bricks that are set back. That actually looks really cool from over here. What I would like to do now, though, is actually just pop onto the ice farm world and show you the plot that has been inspiring me for this build. So here it is. This is the build that I've been taking inspiration from. And the entire time that I've been over here looking at this thing, I haven't actually checked out whose plot it is. And no surprise, it is Mr. Polymaths, who I've been collaborating with for a future build on Hermitcraft. He's one of the staff on the server, one of the builders, and there's actually been several plots that I've picked out and gone, wow, that one's really fantastic. And of course, it's builders from our build team. I mean, that speaks to the quality of their building. So you can see where I get the palette from and the structure here. It's looking really cool. But when you take inspiration from a build, you need to differ from the original. And we're doing that with the overall shape and also the choice of materials for the roof. I've also just noticed now that there are these blocks on top of here sticking out from the regular slope. That's actually a really nice detail. Just kind of breaks up the normality of it, right, and gives it more texture and a little bit of depth. That's really cool stuff going on there. Now what we're also going to do in our build is have some of these like smoke towers as well, and that's actually what we're going to be building next. So up the top here, yes, we have trapdoors. This is actually something that I wanted to try. Let's open all of these trapdoors. So at night time, things can spawn up there because it's dark and it's not lit, and there's this beautiful contrast that I want to keep. And that actually looks really good. I might have to consider going with what you see right there. But over on the other side, it just creates a little lip. And the darkness is actually really good for changing up like the dimension. You can see the pillars in front, and that just, yeah, it's looking fantastic. You'll also notice these pillar things have been built up over here on the side. I've used a different block palette. We've gone for stone bricks and andesite bricks with some of those ones, these smooth stones at the front. And I think I might actually replace them with windows, because these are going to be silos that we are storing things in, right? So I might not actually make the smokestacks on top of it, but it looks super cool. And I originally started this off with them all being the same height as that one there, but I started them from different heights because they kind of naturally went on this slope. So this is one block higher than one before it, and that one over there. But when I got to the top, it felt like it was right to make them get taller the further across it went. And we've got some walls in between, but that stuff is largely unfinished at the moment. And so, my friends, I wanted to do this thing in one episode, the whole building. And I have the time for that. I have the resources. I haven't bitten off more than I can chew. The thing is, though, creativity, it's like fuel. The more you use it, the less you have, right? You need to recharge your batteries, and I feel like actually what will probably be better for this project is for me to do it over a few episodes, so it can kind of settle in, and then I can continue building, because you can see over here, it's looking pretty fantastic the way we've got these arches coming over, but then I kind of reach this bit and I'm not sure where exactly it needs to go. I've been messing around with a few different ideas, as you can see, and I just need to let this stuff settle before I continue with it, I think, now. The roofs are coming together well, and I could probably build more of those, but then we're going to have like more rooms up top, and the roofs just ain't going to come and meet at the middle. There's going to be all sorts of fancy stuff going on there. So I think it's a good idea to get the entire foundation in place first. Also, over here I've been messing around with the trapdoors again, and there are actually carpets up there. Unfortunately, the carpets kind of ruin the charm of the granites, but they don't look too bad themselves when you walk over here, and they will stop mob spawning, and I think this is actually a really good compromise because we can have the trapdoors on the outside. So from down here, everything looks in order because you can't even see the red carpet. And of course, getting a good view of this project from up in the skies is always important, checking out your builds from different perspectives. And I've got to say, I think it's looking absolutely amazing here in the middle of this area. It's really going to be something, but we're going to move on and work on a couple of other things. One of those being this over here. I think I talked about it earlier on in the episode, right? We need to build an entrance. I want to play around with quartz a little bit and try and match what we've got going on over here. So I've asked Doc to come on the server and check this out. I don't want it to be like tone deaf or not the right approach here to sort of mimic what he's done on that side. And I do think it has a charm here that's probably going to work. I tried putting some glass in front of each of the wall blocks, and it really takes away from the colour. So I think we're going to have to leave it open like that. Now, as for the entrance and what's behind it, this is kind of close. And of course we'd tidy this up and make it more interesting. But what I've been noticing is that this comes quite away from the edge of the mountain, hill, whatever you want to call it, the side of all of that. So actually, now I'm starting to think, what if we push this back a couple more blocks, and the doors on this block, they're actually on the block behind it, so they would be there, except I placed that wrong. Brilliant. And then we could have the water just right here in front, so you know, you can kind of see the way down, or maybe we'll put a sign saying entrance here, and then that means this gets to go back a couple of blocks, which I think is important. My friends, I believe it is all done. I've pushed it back by 2 blocks, and then I've just been building, putting the roof on it, figuring out the sides, raising up some of the ground here a little bit so not too much of that is exposed. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's done. So time to hit record. And as you approach here, you can see that there is water. We need to make it more clear which one is up and down, and I think that will be done just with a sign on the door, right? I can put one there. Yeah, and that doesn't look too bad. You'll read that as you approach. And then like over here, the front is just grass, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do too much else with it. One thing I will do though is I'll probably dig out a little bit more of this stone so there's more quartz and it's a cleaner transition. But there you go. The entrance to the wall shop is done. And now for a change of scenery. We've spent a lot of time cooped up in the shopping area, and now I want to hang out in the place with the yellow walls. We're going to change the colour of those walls to packed ice. This is why we have been working on these ice farms recently and gathering lots of this stuff, because I'm literally going to need stacks upon stacks upon stacks of this stuff, because this is my base and it's going to be a mega build of sorts. It's going to have a guardian farm inside of it, but not too much else. Maybe a sorting system for storing items. And what I want to start off by doing is replacing all of the sand in our walls with packed ice. So if I go to the corners and build a pillar going all the way up, I should be able to remove all of the sand without it flowing into our base. It will need like a little area like this where the water can flow into so it doesn't spread out everywhere. So I'm going to go along here and replace all of these blocks. Then we are going to come to this corner and replace all of this sand here with packed ice. And then we do the same on the opposite side while we run the risk of drowning. I've left my conduit over at the ice farm project, so I need to head over there and grab that back. But now that those are in place, we should in theory be able to remove the slabs at the bottom here. Or sorry, actually no, what we're going to do is remove the sand on top of it. So if I swing like that and we look back, wow, that's trippy. That's totally trippy. Now you knew I was going to do this. Absolutely, it is time for the camera account. This is a lot of fun. Oh, I missed one. Let's keep the pattern going. Oh yeah, that is looking very cool. Although every time I look over at the other screen to see what's going on, it makes it harder to mine these blocks. Oh wow, that is fantastic. There's a bit of water flowing over the front here. Why would it be doing that? It's done it in a couple of places. Right, now let's get the side over here done as well. This will be nice and easy. They're all at the same height. There we go. Wow. So yes, look, a couple of bits of water popped out the front, but of course because we put those pillars in the corner, it means that the source blocks aren't going to form outwards and fill in all of this space. So it's very important that we did that, and of course now what we've got to do is fill in these top to bottom with packed ice. So one side has been filled in, and we've ripped out more sand from the other corners. I did this during the Hermitcraft livestream day, so if you want more Hermitcraft action, then go check that out. It is on my second channel. That's where I put all of my live stream uploads. We also went and got more packed ice because we actually used the chest that we had. I think we had maybe about 23 stacks of packed ice for one wall. So that's enough to do some more. But we've got the Guardian farms in the way here. And this place is going to undergo some massive redevelopment in the future. But we're going to wrap this episode up here. And next episode we'll be going back over to the shopping district and continuing with that epic build. I hope you like the look of it. I'm really excited by it. And that's what we'll be doing in the next one. But anyway, if you have enjoyed this one, then leave a like. As always, thank you ever so much for your support on this series. And I'll see you soon with another episode. Bye-bye.